Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
Okay, thanks for the chance given my group. We are from the 5 group. Me with my partner is my brother is Rahmat. Today we will present my material about the effectiveness of bilingual education, the United States debate. Okay, in there are 3 contents. The first is the United States debate, and the second is advancing the effectiveness of bilingual education, and the last is conclusion. Okay, the first is the United States debate. According to the Barker and the Cantor review of bilingual education, 1983, there are two questions to focus the review. The first question is, does transitional bilingual education lead to better performance in English? And the second is, does transitional bilingual education lead to better performance in non-language subject areas? In here, the review looked at bilingual education through transitional areas. It did not start from a natural, comprehensive look at the various different forms of bilingual education. Notice also the narrow range of expected outcomes of bilingual education in the questions, and only English language and non-language subject area where regard as the desirable outcomes of schooling. Other outcomes such as self-esteem, employment, preservation of minority language, and the value of different culture were not considered. Not where areas such as moral development, identity, social adjustment, and personality development considered. And the next slide is, in here Barker and Cantor 1981 and 1983 look at 300 pieces of bilingual education research from North America of the bilingual world. Of those 300, they rejected 261 study. The 39 they consider in their review of bilingual education to conform to 6 criteria, and 6 criteria is, the first is English and non-English subject area performance must have been measured in the research, and the second is comparisons between bilingual education. In here, this means that initial difference between the two comparison groups must have been taken into account. If not, the result may be explained by such initial difference, for example, different socio-economic grouping, rather than the form of education in which children were placed. And the next Barker and Cantor 1983 required the study to be statistically valid. for example, in here, appropriate statistical tests needed to have been performed. And the next is some study were rejected because they compared the rate of progress of bilingual education sample national average for a particular subject area. In here, such as comparison is invalid as the comparison will be between bilinguals and monolingual English speakers rather than two different groups of bilingual in different form of schooling. And the next criteria is it was insufficient for chosen study to show that a group of students had progress over the year. In here, that is a relative gain or one form of bilingual education program compared with another, rather than absolute gain or how much progress made in a specific time was required. And the last criteria is a study which solely use grade equivalent score were rejected. In here, there are problems of comparability and compatibility between schools and state when united state grade score are used. And the next is, according to Baker and Decanter, there was considerable criticism of the view from Willig 1981, American Psychological Association 1982. The main criticism may be summarized as the first is a narrow range of outcomes measure was considered, although this is often the fault of the original researcher rather than the review. The next is focusing on transitional bilingual education implicitly value assimilation and integration and develop aims such as the preservation of child's home language and culture. And then the last is the criteria used for selection only 39 and 39 out of 300 study were narrow and rigid. And the next is about according to Willig 1985 about meta-analysis. Okay, in here, according to Willig 1985, adopted a statistical meta-analysis approach to reviewing bilingual education. She select 23 study from the Baker and Decanter 1981, 1983 review. All of her 23 study concerned United States bilingual education evaluation and deliberately exclude Canadian immersion education evaluation. As a result of the meta-analysis by Willig 1985 conclude that bilingual education programs that support the minority language were consistently superior in various outcomes. Bilingual education program tend to produce higher performance in tests of achievement throughout the curriculum. In here, there are a criticism by Willis 1985 about meta-analysis is that it only includes 23 study and international review of the bilingual education effectiveness study could have included many more study and provide more generalizable conclusion. By further criticism of Willig 1985 are given by August and Hakuta 1997 and Ketbaker 1987. And the next is about the Ramirez research. According to the Ramirez research, there are three programs in researcher in research. The first program is a structured English immersion, and the second program early exit, and the last program late exit bilingual education. So the Ramirez researcher used the third program in research. In here over 2,300 Spanish speaking students from 554 kindergarten to sixth grade classroom in New York, New Jersey, Florida, Texas, and California were studied. Ramirez and Merino 1990 examined the process of bilingual education classroom. The language of the classroom were radically different in grades 1 and 2. The first structure immersion contained almost 100% English language. The second early exit transitional bilingual education contained around 2/3 English and 1/3 Spanish. And the last is what exit transitional bilingual education moved from 3/4 Spanish in grade 1 to a little over half Spanish in grade 2. And the next, there are a series of review and criticism of the Ramirez 1981 research followed Kasdan 1982, Mayer and Fiber 1982, Thomas 1982, with particular emphasis on the following. The first, the first is the benefit of strong form of bilingual education program are not considered, or two why bilingual education heritage language education. The second is the range of variable used to measure success is narrow, and the next is the considerable difference that exists within bilingual education program, or let alone different types of bilingual education program. Makes comparison and conclusion much difficult. Mayer and Fiber 1982. And the next is the National Academy of Science review this other study and conclude that the design of the study was with the answer Kaipoli's question by Mayer and Fiber and Department of Education. And the last is there is a lack of data to support the long-term benefits of Black X6 transitional programs over the programs by Kabakar 1982. Okay, the next is by Greens 1988 about meta-analysis. According to Rosel and Baker, 1996 review 77 study they regarded as methodologically acceptable. They conclude that there was no evidence to show that bilingual programs were superior to English only of times. And the next Green strongly criticized this fourth content review of its technically inadequate and unsound approach or naiveness about experimental design, unavailability of some research study, simplicity of numerical analysis. In here, there are Green 1988 reanalysis the Rosel and Baker 1996 study using a rigorous statistical technique meta-analysis. Coin-Willig 1985 reanalysis of Baker and Decanter 1983 Green 1988 indicates that classification of weak form of bilingual education into transition bilingual education. And the next is public opinion and the effectiveness of bilingual education. According to Krashen, 1989 provides a wide-ranging review of United States public opinion polls regarding bilingual education. In polls that attempt to ask to representative sample of people, approximately 2/3 of the public area in favor of bilingual education. Okay, in here about California and Proposition 227. The first is California. With a multilingual population, California had become a state where both experimentation and experience with bilingual education had blossomed. A symbol of this is the California Association for Bilingual Education, drawing some 10,000 educationalists to its annual conference and with an established press both inside and outside the United States for being at the cutting edge of practice in bilingual schools. And according to Proposition 227, in here the proposition was posed as an effort to improve English language interaction for children who needed to learn the language for economy and employment opportunities. Okay, now I invite the second speaker, Ahmad. Thanks is you.
Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, I will continue our presentation. My parts are: the first one is expert overviews of the effectiveness of bilingual education. A few overviews of experts of the effectiveness of bilingual education. The first one is expert panel of the U.S. National Research Council led by Kenji Hakuta declared that the first one All children in the USA should be educated to become fully functional in the English language. The second one, the of expectation and academic opportunities given to such students must equal the other students. The third one is in an increasingly global economic and political world, proficiency in language other than English and an understanding of different cultures are valuable in their own right and should be among the major goals for schools, according to August and Hakuta, 1997. This expert panel conclude that the use of child's native language in the school doesn't impede the acquisition of English, but there's a little value in the conducting evaluation to determine which type of program the best. The key issue is not finding a program that works for all children and localities, but rather finding a set of program components that works for the children. Next one, please. Are you? Next one. Another expert, Brief 1998, provides a comprehensive explanation of situational factors that affect both the standards reached by bilingual students and the effectiveness of bilingual schools. Her model suggests that there are five situational areas that can promote or otherwise such as the effectiveness of the first one is linguistic. Linguistic, the example, language used in the community, media, technology, and home. The second one is cultural. For the cultural, the example are parental participation in classroom, curriculum content, and the assumption about the background knowledge of students. The first one is economic. For the economic are economic viability of the language, career opportunities, educational costs. The first one is political. For the political, the examples are treatment of immigrants, attitudes to language diversity. The last one is social. For the social, the examples are size and cohesiveness of the language community, race and gender relationship, attitudes to language and ethnic group. Next one. Also, Cummins 1999, 2000 argues that it is tested theory that should drive policy making, which means research should come from theoretical proposition, testing, reasoning, and sometimes refuting those propositions. When theory is firmly supported by research and if it accounts for findings from variety of content, theory will explicitly inform policy making. Next one. The next explanation about explaining opposition to bilingual education in the USA. Hardy answers 1995 that there are two theoretical explanations for opposition to bilingual education. The first one is realistic interest theory. Realistic interest theory states that those in power want to protect their own or their group political and economic interests. So, the majority language group may oppose bilingual education because it doesn't benefit speakers of monolingual language, such as in the US or the majority language. The second one is underserving of special treatment. For example, in the United States of America, Hadi and Sears 1995 suggests that there is prejudice against Latins who are seen as lazy and as offenders of work ethics. The new oppression generates stereotypes of non-white, not in terms of color but as unwilling to work, complaining with ethnic chips on their soldiers. The last one is social identity theory. The last one is the explanation of social identity theory states the language majority members may oppose bilingual education because they view it as a threat to national, cultural, and personal identity. Bilingual education becomes equated with the spread of foreign customs, foreign influence, challenging a sense of pride in nationality, national image, and integration. Next one, please. Here are the key factors in bilingual schooling. Collier's 1995 model has four major components for key factors of bilingual schooling. There are sociolinguistic, social cultural, linguistic, academic, and cognitive. The first one is sociolinguistic. Collier states that the importance of social cultural process in acquiring a second language in school. The students may experience prejudice and discrimination. Such an external influence may affect internal psychological working such as self-esteem, anxiety, integration with peers, and achievement in school. This scholar emphasized the importance of social cultural supportive environment for language minority students. The second one is linguistics. Collier reviewed that academic success in the school language requires the student's first language to be developed to high cognitive level. Students throughout schooling acquire increasingly complex skills in reading, writing, developing through the college and further vocabulary development. The third one is academic. With each succeeding grade in school, the curriculum requires ever-expanding vocabulary. The last one is cognitive. The fourth factor of Collier's model is cognitive development. She argues that the teaching of second language should simplify, structure, and artificially sequence language work. The danger is in breaking down language into cognitively simple tasks. Collier goes on argued that all four components, social, cultural, academic, cognitive, and linguistic, are interdependent. If one is developed at the neglect of the other, the students' overall growth and their performance will suffer. The next one. The next one is about another advancing the effectiveness of bilingual education. Carter and Catfield 1986 and the others suggest that the effectiveness of bilingual education can be addressed from different perspectives. Bilingual education research can look at effectiveness at four different levels. The first one is individual child. The second one is classroom level. The third one is school level. The fourth one is type of program, which means four of them is structure and infrastructure of advancing the effectiveness of bilingual education. Next one. Another expert said to advance the effectiveness of bilingual education, Augustus N. Hakota 1997 The effectiveness of bilingual education not only considers the infrastructure. For example, the following sectors have been found to increase a school's effectiveness. The first one is staff, curriculum, students, and parents. All of them, the another advance the effectiveness of bilingual education. Next one, please. The last part is conclusion. The conclusion that comes from this chapter is that simple constitution gives simple answers. We cannot expect the simple answer to the question of whether or not bilingual education is more or less effective than mainstream education that can guarantee success. Another conclusion, the effectiveness of bilingual education needs to consider children, teachers, and the community, the school itself, and the type of program. One particular factor cannot be isolated from the another one. Thank you very much. That's all our presentation. I hand over to my sister, Ayu Anggreni. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Rahmat. Okay, I think enough from our group. I offer to the next presentation from the next group.
Okay, I think you can stop recording first.